Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Transfer Show, who's also been discussing potential new signings. We'll cover it all with Darwin Chef and James Green, the men in the know. Now, also on the way, the Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes calls on the club to keep Alexander Isak, despite the striker wanting to explore his options this summer. Look, Alexander Isak. Now, his captain at Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes, wants the club to keep hold of Isak after the Sweden striker said he wanted to explore his options this summer. As we know, the Premier League champions Liverpool made an informal approach for Isak last week and are huge admirers. Isak, not part of the Newcastle squad that arrived in Singapore for a pre-season tour. The club said he was left at home with a minor thigh issue. Right, who wins this, Darmesh? The player wants to explore his options. Newcastle don't want him to go. Who wins?
If we look at this at face value, first of all, Newcastle United are holding the cards here. That's simply because of the contract situation for Alexander Isak. He's still got 3 years left on that contract. However, Newcastle United, make no mistake about it, they have got an issue here, and a big, big issue. Publicly, yes, it's a minor thigh problem why he's missing this tour. But we do know that he wants to explore other options in this transfer window. Now, Newcastle United can't bury their heads in the sand. They're not going to do that either. Because whether they like it or not, and whether they want to or not, they will have to start thinking about life after Alexander Isak if a deal is going to get done for him to leave Newcastle. For him to leave, it's going to take the thick end of £150 million. That's what we think, which is a lot of money. So there's not going to be many clubs who are going to be able to go into the market and buy Alexander Isak. So while this saga rumbles on, because that's what it's turning into now.
Well, you heard the boys mention Alexander Isak there. Let's get a bit more on his future. We know Liverpool are huge admirers, and their all-time leading scorer, Ian Rush, unsurprisingly, would love to see Isak at Anfield next season.
I think every club in the world would love to sign him. The way he performed last season was incredible. I watched him when in the Carabao Cup final when he played against Liverpool. He was most probably the man of the match. So I think every club in the world would love to see him. No one knows what's happening. I don't know what's happening and all that. But I think if he was available, I'm pretty sure every club, every top club would like to sign him. Everyone wants to beat Liverpool this season. Last season, people were not seeing Liverpool as a major strength, and that's why we need to get a stronger squad. And I think last season we only signed one player, and all the fans were saying, "Oh, we should sign 4 or 5." Proved we only needed one player. This season we need maybe 4 or 5 new players, and that's what they've done. And all credit to the owners, they've given the manager the money to do that.
Ian Rush there. All right. James, we know Liverpool want Alexander Isak. How do they make it work financially?
Well, I don't know you were going to ask that question. It's a question on everybody's lips right now, though, isn't it? Look, I think we can look at Liverpool right now and we can look back on the last few transfer windows. Last 2 transfer windows, they signed one player, Federico Chiesa, for £10 million. So we know their outlay hasn't been so big. FSG has been criticised quite a lot in the past for not investing more money in Liverpool, not making big signings, but they run the club very prudently. We know the money's there. The reason why we know the money's there, let's go back a couple of seasons. Moises Caicedo, before he went to Chelsea, Liverpool were bidding over £100 million. They had money to spend. They were willing to spend big money on the right player. This is a club, and Richard Hughes, now in as sporting director, is not panicking on decisions. We know the club were very close to agreeing a deal with Martin Zubimendi. It didn't happen. They didn't panic last summer and go out and try and rush and sign a number 6. They just recruited internally. Ryan Gravenberch dropping back in, and it worked perfectly for them. But the success Liverpool are having now on the pitch, Premier League champions, brings in larger sponsorship deals. We know as of August 1st, they have a new kit sponsor in Adidas, 10-year deal. That's big, big money that's coming in. They are run so well right now that they have the money to spend. Not only that, they still have players within their squad that will recoup big, big transfer fees because the performances on the pitch have been so good. Those players have improved and the transfer value remains high. The likes of Luis Diaz, we might get to, Darwin Nunez, Harvey Elliott, who all could depart Liverpool this summer and recoup some big money in?
I think when you ask the question, how can Liverpool do this? This question seems to always be asked by the rivals of Liverpool because they're looking at them quite enviously. And the reason that they're looking at them quite enviously is, touching on what James has said there, they are fantastically well run. He talked about not only hardly spending any money last summer, they actually recouped £40 million. People forget the likes of Bobby Clark and Sepp van den Berg brought them in money that effectively gave them a profit in last summer's transfer window. This summer, they've still made sales as well. Quansah's gone, Kelleher's gone. They even got £10 million for Trent Alexander-Arnold. So that's another 60 million. And the players that James mentioned, how much would Diaz, Nunez and Harvey Elliott bring in? You're talking in excess of 100 to 150 million pounds there as well. And you've got to remember, Mike, how PSR works. They may have spent 300 million pounds so far and maybe counting as well. But it's not 300 million pounds that goes off in this financial year. Effectively, you're going to have a 300 million pound spend it's amortised over the length of the contract. So you might see 20 to 25% of that amount go in this 1 year. So you're looking at around 60 to 70 million pounds maybe going this year. Now, if they've recouped 60 million pounds from Kelleher, Quansah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, we do know the way PSR works, that 60 million, even though it will be paid in instalments, goes straight into their books. So if Liverpool, for example, were to sell these other players and they made, I don't know, 100 to 145 million pounds or 150 million pounds in this transfer window, you could actually argue that 150 million pounds coming into the club could enable you to buy 3 or 4 or 5 players worth 80 million pounds, because only a certain percentage of that huge fee is going out per year. That's why Liverpool are able to do this. Mark McAdam was talking about this last night on Sky Sports News, and he said he's spoken to one financial expert who said that they can go again, Liverpool, without selling anyone. That's how well run they are at the moment, which is why every rival club is asking, how are they doing?